Right, so I hope you all had time to locate a blanket. No worries if you're still finding one. We're going to start slow. If you do have one, you might want to bring it up under your seat. It can feel really nice to bring the hips just a little higher than the knees. That helps us really release into the low back. And we're just going to get started in our easy, comfortable seat. And I should say, if easy seat ever bothers your knees, just take legs out straight. So we're finding length in spine and softness in body. Feeling shoulders relax, jaw, eyes are nice and heavy. It's totally up to you. At the end of the day, I'm going to keep my palms down for a little grounding, though of course if you need energy for your practice and you want to come to palms up, by all means. So acknowledging any aches or pains, acknowledging any thoughts or feelings you might be carrying with you from the day, and telling them it's time to go. You're going to give yourself this full hour, sort of a mini vacation. We're just starting to bring our inhales a little bit deeper into the belly. The exhales more complete. Either visualizing or counting the breaths, or maybe instead using the space for intention. No wrong answers. Inhale, fill up your biggest breath of the day so far. A little audible sigh out. And then come up off of your blanket if you were sitting on one. Don't forget, if you need to still track one down, please do. And we're going to take our legs out long, and we're going to get started with some twisting. Oscar, if I could have you just come to the side. Thank you. Alright, so bend into your right knee. Your right foot could be on the inside of your left knee, could be on the outside, depending on how that feels in your right hip. You could even bend your left leg and bring your heel by your right hip. That's going to be about the most intense in our hips. Totally up to you. Back off if you need to. We always start slow. We're going to inhale, draw our hands up. And on the exhale, left hand will come to the outside of right leg, and right arm's going to come behind. Just a twist. And I'll always tell you, in a twist, engage your core. Draw your belly button in. That helps you release the muscles in your back. When we contract one muscle, we're able to better stretch another. We're inhaling length into our spine. And as you look over right shoulder, you'll get a really nice opening in your neck. So just keep focusing on your breathing, on finding length in your spine, and releasing as you twist and exhale. One more big inhale. And then exhale, come forward. So kind of hitting one of those yin moves here. We're going to drop our right knee on top of our left knee. We're trying to line the knees, but if they're squared, no worries. You know that you can always add the support. That's why the blanket's such a good tool. And then we bend left under only if you're interested in taking a full shoelace. It's a big pose, coming into it still cold like we would in a yin class, so if you want to stick with half, by all means. Again, inhale, lift, and take a little exhale, hinge forward. If your left leg's long, be mindful to be soft in your left knee. So if you're in a half a shoelace, how does it feel in your left hamstring? How does it feel in your right hip? If you're in a full, you're really going to feel it in your right hip. So use this space, this hold, to visualize breaths or the intention you set at the beginning of our practice. Inhale, walk up, nice and slow. Take your left leg out long if you're in the full shoelace. Right leg comes with it. Bend both knees. We're always rinsing our hips with a windshield wiper. All right. Extend right leg, keep left bend. You know your three options, right? Foot on the inside of the knee, on the outside if you're going deeper in your left hip. If you really want to go deep, maybe you're bending right underneath. It's a different side of the body, so you might be taking this pose a little bit different, and that's okay. Inhale brings hands up, and on the exhale we twist. Right elbow hooking, left hand our kickstand. Inhales, of course, lift us up tall. Exhales, engage the core, that sort of natural contraction. And we look over our shoulder for the next stretch. Ring out the body and ring out the thoughts. What can you release here? As you inhale, lift, and exhale, twist. And inhale, sweep up, or I should say unwind, uncross the legs. That's not true. Keeping your left knee, drop it now on top of your right knee. Get a little knee step going, our half or our full shoelace. Dependent really on your left hip, what's going to work better here, as well as the back of your right leg. Inhale the length, and exhale hinge, folding over our shoelace legs. Using this hold for breath, for concentration. That fifth limb of yoga, where we work on focusing on one thing and one thing only. Inhale, press up, nice and slow. Unwind your legs Put a bend in both of your knees and rinse with the windshield wiper. Plant soles. Swing onto your hands and knees. And we'll still take our cats and cows. Twisting is a great way to open the spine. But this adds a little contraction and expansion. So start inhaling to lift, exhaling to round. Be soft in your elbows as you flow through these two poses. Inhale your biggest breath of the day so far, going deep in that cow. Exhale, clear out your lungs completely and lift your spine high. One more big inhale, really fill up. Exhale to neutral. Let's wake up our ankles just a little bit, so keep the tops of your feet on the mat. Walk your hands back in your seat towards your heels, like we're coming into a hero's pose. Now, you can keep your hands on the mat if this bothers your knees, your ankles, your shins. If you want to take your hands up to your thighs, add a little bit more pressure, that's fine. The goal here is simply to wake up our ankles. That is all we're looking to do. Well, ankles and shins. So take a little walk forward. Now give your toes a curl under. Lift your seat. Find downward facing. And just start pedaling. Opening up the calves. Keep the elbows nice and soft. A little press of the chest back. Take a little walk. Bring your hands back to your feet and come into a forward fold at the back of your mat. We'll inhale the half lift, put space in our spine so we can exhale a nice big hinge. And grab elbows or let the arms hang. Just giving our upper bodies a little break from gravity. Swaying out, shaking out. Drop your hands. Bend so much in your knees, you can put your hands to the mat. Walk forward into a high plank. And exhale, lower. Elbows graze the ribs on the way down. Toes uncurl. Let's inhale up. A cobra, coming up as high or staying as low as you'd like. Elbows in, shoulders dropped. How does that feel in the back? Lower. Give your toes a curl. Lift your seat up nice and high. Pedal. Press your heels away. Inhale your right foot up. Put a bend in your right knee. Send your foot over to the left. Wake up the inside of the right hip. Float your right toes. Get a nice reach going. Step your right foot between your hands. Knee stacks on top of ankle. Left knee comes down. Left toes uncurl. Press to the top of your left hip. And we're just waking up our left hip flexor. Hands might come to the knee. Shoulders roll back. Little lift in the chest. You need to pick up your seat and drop down a little bit deeper, a little bit bigger of a stretch here by all means. Take your hands down, frame your foot. Shift your hips back. We're going to come into that half Hanumanasana. On our heel, right knee's nice and soft. You know you're adding more of a bend. If you're feeling a little tight in the right hamstring and you don't have blocks, no worries. We're going to inhale, lift up our chest, and hinge our heart over our knee. So much space in the back of the right leg. This is going to come in handy real soon. So take a moment to really slow your breathing down. To soften into your shoulders and your hamstring. Just breathing, clearing out your head. Walk your hands forward, frame your foot, give your left toes a curl under, and step back, down dog. Lift your seat up nice and high. Take your pedals, your chest pressed back, and then inhale your left toes up nice and high. Bend and send your foot to the right. Inhale your left toes up, big reach. Step your foot between your hands. Get that knee stack going. Drop your right knee. Uncurl your right toes. Waking up now the right hip flexor. Either with hands on the mat or hands on the knee. Don't forget to press into the top of your foot to take pressure out here in Anjaneyasana. Shrug your shoulders back into space. I throw Anjaneya, the Vinyasa term, into my practice quite a bit, also called dragon pose in a yin class. And tonight we are going to be, like I said, very focused in the hips. So breathe down deep into your right hip flexor and exhale to clear it out. And frame. Shift your hips back. Coming onto your left heel, left toes popping. Remember, you can keep that knee pretty soft if you're feeling any tightness in the hamstring. But we are going to dance around our edge. And rather than hyperextending our knee, locking it, we'll do that by taking our heart over our knee. That'll give us a nice opening in the spine as well. Coming to those body softening breaths here. One more big inhale. Walk forward as you exhale. Give your right toes a curl under. And this time we're going to step our right foot to meet our left. We'll inhale up halfway. Take our hinge. Grab our elbows and sway it out one more time. Release your hands. And take your slow lower up. We may have been moving a lot, but we haven't come to standing yet. So stacking one vertebra at a time. Bring the shoulders back into space. Finding your Tadasana or mountain pose. Let's take one more flow. So inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hinge. Inhale, halfway. High plank. We lowered all the way on the first one. Let's see if we can't lower halfway. Elbows grazing ribs as we come to chaturanga. Tops of feet down. Inhale, upward facing dog, or maybe you're in a cobra, no worries if that's the case. Give toes a curl, lift your seat, and pedal. Exhale to the front. Inhale, half lift. Take a dive. And inhale, sweep your hands up. Exhale, open up your heart. Back bend. Inhale, center. Bring the right foot over the left. Soften into both of your knees and roll down to your forward fold. Remember, keep your left knee soft. That's important. You're opening up the outsides of your legs, but especially the right. Keep knees nice and soft. This is a little prep work. Let your head hang, shake out. You could always bring your hands to your ankles if they don't want to quite touch the mat. My favorite transition. Keep your right toes facing forward. Take your left foot back, landing it in Warrior One, and I'll turn and face so you can see. So see how my heels are aligned? You can always take your right foot off to the side, make more space if that works better for your hips. We've landed here in pyramid. Your right knee could be nice and soft, although we opened up our hamstrings specifically for this pose and this transition into this pose. Put some length in your spine, like you're going to bring your forehead to your shin, but don't go there if it's too far for your leg. A few moments to breathe and release. All right. Pick up your left heel, spin your left foot forward, step your right foot back, lift your seat downward facing. All about those tricky transitions tonight. Exhale, lower your hips, high plank. Take a look ahead, strong setup, lower all or half. Inhale, back bend. Give your toes a curl, lift your seat downward facing. Exhale takes you to the top of the mat. Inhale brings you to a half lift here. Take a dive. Inhale, sweep your hands overhead. Exhale, another back bend. Inhale, center. Take left foot over right, soften into right knee and roll on down. Remember, shake out the head, release the neck. How does it feel in the outsides of the hips, the seat, the sides of the legs, the IT band? Be sure to keep your knees nice and soft. Remember, our forward folds are calming poses. They're anxiety and depression relievers, so take a moment to enjoy this posture. And then leaving your left toes forward, take your right foot back into Warrior One position. Right toes facing top right corner, and I'll give it a turn. Remember, you can keep a lot of bend in the knee. You can start to straighten the knee to go deeper into this pyramid pose stretch. Just don't hyperextend the knee. To get the deeper stretch, you bring forehead to shin instead. And take our big head clearing inhales and exhales here. And draw our focus to our intention if we set one. pick up your right heel. Give your toes a spin to the front. Step your left foot back. Down dog. How do the legs feel? Exhale, high plank. And lower all the way down to the belly and stay there. Uncurl your toes, press the tops of your feet to the mat. Inhale up, another cobra. Draw your elbows in, drop your shoulders. How does that feel in the back? Lift up your chin. Exhale, lower. Make a pillow with your hands, bend your knees, and windshield wiper your feet. Take your legs long, goal post your arms, that means elbows in line with your shoulders, and slide your left knee up towards your left elbow. 2 right angles on the left side. Or half frog or half crocodile. Opening up the inside now of our left hip. Right cheek on the mat. Eyes can be heavy, just focus on your breath. Draw your left foot back to meet your right. Take your chin or forehead down. I want you to leave your arms sort of goal posted here. And we're going to inhale, come up. A little variation of cobra. Elbows out long. Broadening the chest. Different compression in the back. Now drop your elbows underneath and come into a Sphinx pose. Fingers reaching, elbows under shoulders. Pull your belly button in towards your spine like you're trying to lift your belly off the mat, keeping your back safe. Palms to the corners. Inhale up even higher, seal pose, drop the shoulders, lift the chin. Exhale, lower. Bend knees, windshield wiper. Just rest your chin on your arms. Extend your legs. I'm going to turn and flip so you get a better idea of what we're doing, what I'm doing. We're going to take our half crocodile on the right. So goal posted arms, right knee sliding up to right elbow. Passive little hip openers here, left cheek to the mat. We're just allowing gravity to do all the hip opening for us. Extend your right leg back to meet your left chin or forehead down. Interlace your fingers, place them right on top of your seat. Exhale completely. Inhale, draw your shoulder blades together, lift up. Take a little breath with you so you can exhale, find some length. And inhale, come up even higher. We've got half of a locust variation here with interlaced fingers. Maybe you want to bring up your legs, draw your heels together and find a fold. Totally up to you. Inhale's giving us strength, lifting higher. Exhale's length. One more. And exhale, lower palms underneath. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, arc a cat, lift spine. Inhale, cow. Exhale, neutral. And come to child's pose. Give your fingers a reach, take your forehead down. A little clearing of the sinuses here. Use this pose for grounding, for breath, for intention. Inhale, come up to a table. Give your toes a curl under. Lift your seat back to downward facing. Lower your hips. Exhale, high plank. Legs flow just to rinse out the whole body. Elbows graze the ribs. Lower all our head. Inhale your back bend. Drop your shoulders. Give your toes a curl. Lift your seat and find your down dog. Taking some petals. Pressing away. All right. Take your right knee and drop it behind your right wrist. Left knee is down, left toes uncurled. The reason I asked you to bring the blanket is so we can treat this more like a sleeping swan, like a yin pose. Now you can give your blanket some fold under, really prop your hip up. You can, of course, bring your heel, I'll take a turn so you can see. You can bring your heel very close to your left hip to take pressure out of your knee. You can come to your back if you're terribly uncomfortable. Now I want to build this up with our blanket. Make this our most accessible pigeon. It kind of automatically, evenly distributes the weight. We're going to inhale our chest up. Feel a little stretch in our front left hip flexor. And then we're going to start walking down. So if you're not using a blanket, just be mindful to evenly distribute the weight in your hips. Make a little pillow with your hands. And we're going to come into a longer hold here. Nothing too crazy, but take a moment to settle in. Make sure your knee and your hip are both in a safe place. We're looking for sweet discomfort. We're coming out, readjusting if there's pain or pinching. And we're taking just a few moments to breathe deep into the hip. Imagine the breath could soften it. And then we'll shift away from body altogether, bringing the focus internal, turning out, tuning out all sorts of the noise that's constantly going on in our brain, and coming to that one concentrated point of focus, whether it's breath or intention. Keep focusing on your breathing. We're still just holding the pose. Inhale, press to your palms, nice and slow. Give your left toes a curl under. Step your right foot back and start to pedal and reset. I'm going to inhale my right toes up, put a bend in my right knee and open my right hip one more time, just like we did in the beginning. Toes come down. Take as much time with the reset as you need. And then drop your left knee behind your left wrist, coming into pigeon. Make sure the blanket is especially under your left hip. Great thing about blankets, though, is you can roll it up and almost use it like a shorter bolster, put it between both hips, evenly distributing the weight. So again, make it accessible by bringing heel a little closer to you if that's what you need. That's what I need, especially on my left side where my knee is not so great. We're going to inhale, lift up tall. Notice how that feels in the hips. And then we hinge. Again, if you don't have anything underneath you, work on really distributing the weight between both hips. Coming out always, if there's pain or pinching, you can, of course, take this on your back. But if you're folded over, make a pillow with your hands. Imagine the inhales going deep into your left hip and sort of swirling it out, cleaning it out. You're imagining a nice warm orange glow, which would be associated with the chakra that lives in our hip. And then we're clearing out the thoughts completely, turning them off one at a time, like how we shut a light. Leaving behind our one gleam of focus, our breath or intention. Stay present. Stay focused on breaths or intention. Inhale brings you to palms, nice and slow, ease on up. Right toes curl, left foot steps back, or downward facing. Inhale, bring your left foot up if you'd like, and find the inside hip opener again. If you'd rather keep pedaling, really it's all about what resets your left. Then we'll reach our toes, set our foot down, get your blanket out of the way for the time being, set your knees down, and head to your seat. So we're just going to Come into a bound angle, nothing too fancy, but the blanket's great. Under the seat, because it sort of hinges your hips naturally forward. Knees are apart, the closer the heels, the more intense. And if you'd rather not sit on your blanket for this one, no worries. Inhale a little length into the spine, and exhale, hinge. Again, we're going to come into another longer hold, going into those deeper holds. Really releasing the inside of the hip. Inhale, length into your spine. Exhale, hinge. We're still holding. We're breathing deep into our hips to help them relax. Exhales are always releasing physical and mental tension. Inhale, come up, nice and slow. Long spine. Guide the knees together, ease them together. Plant your feet. Take your hands by your seat. And little windshield wipers. Alright, extend the legs out long. So again, this blanket under the hips kind of hinging you forward might be really helpful here. If you'd rather use it for a little stuffing, we're going to try on a lotus pose, and I'll give you some options. You might want to take it out from underneath you. And this is a big pose, a very big pose. So we're going to take lots of variations, but our hips are nice and open, so I think we have it in us. Start with the right foot. Find your pinky edge. Now we're trying to bring pinky edge into our left hip crease. See why it's a big pose? If your knee just doesn't bend like that, you could instead just place your ankle on your knee. You could take your blanket and bunch it up and bring your knee nice and high and see if that means you could get your crease or your pinky edge a little deeper into your crease. So that might be what you're playing with in terms of a half lotus, even if it looks like this. And maybe you're just hinging forward. But maybe you want to take it a step deeper in your half lotus. Give your right knee a bend and place your ankle, or I should say your left knee a bend, and place your ankle under your right knee. So it's like a cross between an easy seat and a lotus. And of course, if anyone out there has a full in their practice, that looks like bringing your left ankle on top of your right hip and try to snuggle pinky edge into hip crease. Maybe you have a full in your practice, but that's not what we're worried about tonight. So finding your variation of a half, bringing an inhale and lift into the spine. Let's take thumb and index fingers together, that classic meditation pose. This time we will turn our palms up. We'll drop our shoulders, relax our hips. And take some really big inhales and exhales. You're going to practice releasing the tongue from the roof of your mouth. You want to be completely relaxed. entirely in the present moment, focused on breath or intention. Flutter open your eyes. If you had your left underneath, take it out long. Wherever your right foot is, start guiding it back, nice and slow. The knee might be a little tender, the hips might be a little tender. Bend and find your windshield wipers. Alright, so left leg long. Right leg long. We're bending our left knee. And again, even if your ankle's more towards your knee, you can play with getting sort of the ankle stretch that you would in a locust pose. Maybe it's less than your hips, although you'd still feel it. Maybe you're bringing your pinky edge a little bit closer to your right hip crease, depending on if maybe this is your better knee. You know, you can always cushion here in your half lotus with a blanket, build it up nice and tall, bunch it up underneath. If you wanted to play with bending right knee into easy seat and finding a half lotus on this side, like so, you could. That will make the ankle stretch more intense, so be mindful of that. And of course, you have the option of full, bringing right on top. But that's a big pose. Not tonight. We'll take it just a little bit easier. It is getting kind of late. So again, this time I'm going to ask you to take your hands on your knees for grounding. If you need, give your shoulders a shrug back, let them fall away. Remember, tongue falls away from roof of the mouth. The face is completely slack. Concentrating almost to the point of meditation on your intention or on your breath. Let's start unwinding. So if your right leg was in that easy seat pose, take it out. This is where we have to be very mindful because our knees might be tender. Left comes out. Maybe you just kind of jiggle both knees on the mat. And then we'll bend, plant our soul, find the release of the windshield wiper. We'll bring our feet up. Keep your blanket nearby. I want you to keep it near your knees. We're going to use it when we come into Savasana. So make sure it's close, head to the back. And I always like to get started on the back with knees bent. Taking a moment to acknowledge the transition, the change in the back. We've spent so much time on our hips tonight that when we wind down, I want to take it really easy. Draw your knees into your chest. Exhale, squeeze, take a little rock. And then just gently set your knees to the right. A supine twist. more so for the low back now. Now this hip work might just open up your low back. So make sure your shoulders are nice and relaxed towards the mat. Maybe you can reach your fingers. You know, I always give you the option of looking left if that would feel best in your neck, or facing ceiling. Just a final releasing twist. Head center, legs to chest. Exhale, press and open your low back. Then take your rocks. And set your knees off to the left. Remember, shoulders down. It's a great pose because it twists the entire back, or opens up the entire back as well as the shoulders. It's great for digestion. And it actually trains our body to release into poses. It's really passive. So the more we hold, the more we release. Maybe taking a little look to the right. Just breathing. Bring your head center. Take your knees to chest. We're exhaling a little hug to open the low back. Invite that rocking massage. Lots of space. And then start to open up to Savasana. I told you to keep blanket nearby if you've been using one. We're just going to bunch it up under our knees and maybe our lower legs entirely. So with our knees supported, we can really let our hip bones open up, our ankles soften. Do note if you have to make any changes in the low back though. Maybe if you start with sort of extending your right toe, maybe even tensing up your right leg, and then feeling it relax from the hip socket. Do the same on the left. Maybe a little squeeze or reach. And then when you exhale, the whole leg softens from the hip joint. Like the whole low body disappears into the mat. Do the same from shoulder to fingertip, a little reach, a little squeeze, and then a release. Left, reach, squeeze, maybe even making a fist, and then release. Again, the jaw, the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Eyes are heavy. The breath becomes steady. The nervous system is calm. Take a deep inhale. One more big inhale down to the fingers and toes. A stretch and a wiggle. Wrist, ankle bones. Nodding head. Reach the fingers. Reach the toes. Create some length. Come to your right bicep. Pause. And now, plant your left hand. Press to your easy seat. As always, yogis, thank you for sharing with me this practice. Namaste.